Imagine a world without boundaries in space or resources. This idea is easy to pursue if you go to Canada or Siberia, but not for long. Due to advances in modern medicine and the associated extended life expectancy, the world population has been growing substantially. As of this moment, there are 7.2 billion souls on Earth, adding 200,000 to it every day. It's only a matter of time before those countries will be full as well. Scientists believe that in 2100 we will reach the population capacity. 10 billion people will walk the Earth. Not all are as fortunate to live accordingly to the Western standards. The planet can only sustain 4 billion of those rich men. In this short documentary, we will discuss and further define the problem of overpopulation.
My friend Sonara wants to know, she says, I've always wanted to ask the Duggars, what kind of environmental impact is this super large family having on the world? The question of overpopulation might be a controversial subject, but there are a lot of people out there who find the amount of children they have to be too many and more than the average of 2 kids per family.
Oh, wow, wow. Well, first off, the idea of overpopulation is not accurate because really the entire population of the world, if they were stood shoulder to shoulder, could fit in the city limits of Jacksonville. So if you realize that aspect of it, we realize we're not anywhere near being overpopulated. But one of the good things that our family does, I think that's really beneficial, is that our motto is we buy used and we save the difference. And so we are being very resourceful for the things that most people would discard. We go to the thrift stores and we reuse them. Boy, we get lots of use out of them. And we always buy used cars. So we're not, we are buying the things that most people would just not be using. And so we try to be resourceful in that way. And I think teaching our children to be helpers and servers, givers instead of takers. And I think this whole idea about, life in general, I've heard someone say, the statement, well, too many kids. And I'm going, I agree with Mother Teresa when she says, to say that there are too many children is like saying there are too many flowers. I mean, that's the truth of it. Our world needs more joy and more purpose and just the next generation to be encouraged by those that are going to make a difference for good in our world. And that's our prayer for our children, is that they're going to go out into the world and they're going to be the ones making a difference. And they're probably going to be the ones that are going to be paying for the Social Security and helping others in the long run, really, because I think this whole mindset that there's too many people, we've had other countries coming to our doorstep asking us to please let their people know that they need to have more children because they are seeing that their death rates are outnumbering their birth rates, and they're in crisis. They don't have people of marrying age for their youth now, and they see what that's done to their countries. And so I think we are so deceived when we believe that. That's not true. It's a lie. And so I think the goal needs to be, we need to focus on loving people and trying to reach out and make a difference for good in our world.
I believe overpopulation is a concern because if you are overpopulated, you will run out of places for people to live, you will run out of jobs, the unemployment rate may increase, homelessness may increase. Overpopulation can cause many bad things. That could be, and it could cause a chain reaction on the human lifespan.
The places that are being affected by overpopulation are countries like India, Africa, and China, because they have more people than they have money and resources.
Some effects of overpopulation is people will lose jobs, homelessness could probably start, people will lose houses, the unemployment rate could increase. Just imagine if people from another country, state, or city got overpopulated, what would happen? They would start migrating to other areas. For example, if China was overpopulated, people would start to come over here, and what could possibly happen is they could take our jobs. You know, people always complain about African Americans are losing their jobs due to certain other races. So overpopulation could cause maybe another war, people to lose their jobs. Anything in that area.
Hands down, I would say India, because they have quite a few people, well, not even a few. They have a lot of individuals that stay in India, and economically, they're not such as a developed country as other countries. And, people that work there, they get, I think, like 79 cents or like an hour or so. So I don't think that, I think it affects them the most because they do have so many people and they get paid so less, and it's not much of a structure in their country.
When I hear overpopulation, I think of a lot of people. I think of people just standing outside, like in a big area, and there's nowhere to sit. Everybody is tired and hot and stressed out. That is what I believe when I hear overpopulation.
Honestly, I think of like Asian, Chinese people, being that there are so many living in one rural area.
The causes of overpopulation is that too many young kids are doing things they're not supposed to do, and adults are not using condoms.
We can prevent overpopulation by killing all the old people. Thank you.
We can prevent it by coming up with a disease to kill off half of the people or come up with a better birth control.
One thing all humans on this planet need to survive is resources. Resources like food and water are bare essentials for life. The countries that are experiencing the highest growth rates are all developing countries, with the exception of the United States. More often than not, the places where the population growth rates are the highest are the places least able to support the rise in population. Only the United States can continue to support one of the world's largest populations because we are a developed country and the increase comes mostly from immigration. These countries that continue to grow, despite being limited in resources, are the biggest areas of deforestation and depletion of natural resources. These areas lack strong government and are unable to enforce the depletion of resources. The United Nations predict that currently 1 billion people lack the basic needs that we take for granted every day. With the lack of technology, developing countries will continue to destroy resources at an alarming rate, while many struggle to survive every day.
It's a big world and a lot of people, but what happens when all the resources are gone? Living in a world where everyone is fruitful and being influenced by television, social media, and music is like taking a pill to multiply. So could the so-called miracle of birth really be a tragedy? Talking to my peer Asia Edwards, she explained that she believes in a technique of social Darwinism, survival of the fittest, and knows that when push comes to shove with resources, that only the strongest will survive, and that's economically and socially. Being that a bit of over half of the world aren't that, there will be an uprise. Then only the most barbaric will survive.
In our research, we found that the world is losing its available resources at an alarming rate. At this rate, it is said that by the year 2050, the world will be too overpopulated to sustain life. There is no reversing the effects of overpopulation. Through our research, I have also found that the solutions people have thought of are either having another Holocaust where most of the population is annihilated, or making massive advances in technology to make the colonization of other and new worlds possible. At this point, there is no turning back.
Over these past few days, my knowledge of the world around me has advanced. When you don't know something, you don't realize that it could affect you. Understanding that overpopulation affects everyone, including me, has driven me to educate my peers on it. Overpopulation is the excessive population of an area to the point of overcrowding, depletion of natural resources, or environmental deterioration. Just think about it if you woke up and could only have one bottle of water for the week. People need to realize that it's not just developing countries being affected by this, especially Americans. We take many things for granted that we shouldn't. Everyone doesn't have the luxury of indoor plumbing and access to clean water. My opinion, overpopulation can and will kill off the human race if we don't do something about it.
only question is, can we make the changes necessary fast enough?